Hello there everyone, my name is Zoe Joy and welcome to my channel. I am a professional hula hooper and I've been hooping for almost 7 years now. I actually have a hula hoop anniversary coming up real soon. This video is perfect for beginner hoopers or those that are just interested in getting into it. I'm going to talk about everything from how to choose the perfect hoop for you and some beginner tricks. And make sure you stay to the end because I have a special announcement. If you want to start hooping, you may have asked yourself, where do I begin and how do I choose a hula hoop? We're going to talk about that right now. So as you can see, I'm holding a crap ton of hula hoops, right? And you might not be able to tell, but they're each a little bit different. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are made from different material. I'm going to set these down for a second. There are a bunch of different hula hoops for a bunch of different purposes, but for now we're going to keep it simple. To start out, you really want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success when it comes to hooping. If you're using a hoop that's a little bit too small, it's gonna feel like an uphill battle and it's gonna feel impossible. It is so important to start with the right size and wait for your first hoop. Personally, I started out with a 30-inch hoop and it felt halfway impossible, but we got there eventually. Choosing your first hoop has a lot to do with what your goals are. If you specifically want to waist hoop, I would suggest a Big Mama 1-inch hula hoop. Or if you want to dance and move with your hoop, I would recommend an HDPE dance hoop. That would look like this. This hoop is a lot more lightweight, so it might be harder to keep on your waist, but it's lightweight enough so that you can move and dance with it. For beginners, I like hoops that come up to either the top of your hip or your belly button. Specifically your belly button if you want to focus on waist hooping, and your hip if you want to do more dance moves. The bigger and the thicker the hoop is, the slower it moves, smaller and more lightweight it is, the faster it goes. And I will demonstrate. This is a 35-inch hoop and it moves as such. It's pretty lightweight. You can do a bunch of dance moves with it. As you can see, I have a lot more reaction time to move through the hoop because it is bigger. Then we have this hoop. This is one of my favorites. I believe it is 31 inches. And if you notice, I have to move a lot faster for it to work for me. A lot of times new adult hoopers choose hoops that are fit for children and not adults, and this is probably a great example of that. This hoop is really good for off-body moves and like fun stuff that you can do, but to start out, I would not recommend trying to waist hoop with this. This tiny baby here is one of my favorites. It's actually an LED hoop. Ooh. I love using this hoop. I perform with this hoop all the time. This is more so the hoop that I use for off-body moves. So it's going to be very experimental and funny to see me waist hoop with this. As you can see, like from my waist to the, yeah, I don't have a lot of space. So it's very hard. This thing is 27 inches and yeah, she's a baby. So if you want to do like off-body fun, hand hooping, sort of stuff, this is great. Honestly, when it comes to hooping, it's all about your own personal preference and what your goals are. But if you do want to learn waist hooping, on-body hooping, I do recommend a bigger, more weighted hoop. When you're choosing a hoop, simply measure to the top of your thigh or to your belly button, depending on your goals. Also, I will link down below some of my favorite hula hoop shops, and they have all the information and knowledge to help you find your first hoop. If you want more information on everything that I'm talking about, please go to my website. I have a really in-depth blog post that will break everything down. Now let's talk about stance. A lot of times when hoopers are just starting out, stance goes out of the window. I know for me personally, I was just going for it. But stance will really help you in the long run. So let's talk about waist hooping. I like to keep my feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. I like to keep a slight bend in my knee. I engage my core. I also like to keep my feet light on the floor so I can kind of move from left to right or forwards and backwards. I also want to make sure that you're not looking down. Hula hooping is all about gravity. If your attention is toward the ground, the hoop is going to go down. If you're up, standing tall, confident, the hoop is going to stay up with you. You want to have power in your body, but you don't want to be stiff. You want to be able to flow and move, but still have that power in your core. Now we're going to get into the fun part of any hula hoop conversation. How do you do it? Yes, we're going to get you dancing in one video. Let's first talk about waist hooping. Step one for waist hooping, make sure the hoop is taut against your back. Also, we're going to make sure that the hoop is straight, not sideways, not wonky. Next, I'm going to be holding the hoop on either side. And to start out, I'm not going to try to catch the rhythm of the hoop. We're just getting familiar. So I'm going to push the hoop, imagine it going in a straight line across your belly, and just let it fall to the floor. What this is doing is one of my favorite things about hula hooping, and that is building muscle memory. Once you build muscle memory, it all comes naturally from there. I'm hooping to the left, starting a little bit over to the right, and then pushing. My right hand is pushing, my left hand is basically just moving out of the way. What is this doing? So whenever you start something new, your brain is kind of in a freak out zone of like what is going on. And hula hooping is a prime example of that because it is kind of foreign to the body. We don't really do this. This isn't how you hula hoop, but we don't really do this motion every single day. And so we're basically getting our bodies used to the feeling of having a hoop go around our waist. Once we feel comfortable with that, we can start catching the rhythm of the hoop. Your body is going to want to do one of two things. It's either going to want to go left to right or forwards and backwards. We're going to practice both ways to see what feels more comfortable for you. When I think of waist hooping, I like to think of the hoop making contact with 4 different parts of my body. It's making contact with my right side, my belly, my left side, and my back. Yes, it's making contact with your entire waist, but I like thinking of those 4 points because if I'm going from left to right, I can think of my right side pushing into the hoop, my belly receiving the hoop, left side pushing into the hoop, and my back receiving the hoop. I'm basically pushing from left to right, but I'm also swiveling, keeping that freedom in my feet and keeping that bend in my knee. Notice I'm not gyrating. No, you don't have to get it perfect. And if the hoop is falling right now, that is completely normal and fine. We're just trying to catch the rhythm of the hoop. So start making a mental note and really think about, when is the hoop making contact with my right side, my belly, my left side, and my back? Like really feel into that as you're practicing. Ask yourself if that feels right for you. And if not, we're going to try forwards and backwards. Hooping forwards and backwards, I have my feet staggered. My right is in front of my left because I hoop to the left. If you feel inclined to hoop to the right, you can switch that. Feet are staggered, and I'm going to be pushing the hoop just like normal, but instead of kind of thinking about going left to right and swiveling the hoop, I'm going to think about going forwards and back. This is hard for me. I do not hoop like this. This is not my vibe. Apparently I was struggling so bad it affected my camera. My camera shut off, but we're back. So yeah, practice between hooping from left to right and forwards and backwards to see what feels right for you. If the hoop is still falling, don't worry about it. We're just going with that intuitive movement that our body wants to do. So please continue practicing waist hooping for as long as you need to, and we're going to add to that skill. So you're waist hooping, you're feeling good, but you're kind of stuck. You're not able to like really move. Now let's talk about how you can start moving in your hoop while you're waist hooping. So turning while you hoop is actually easier for some because it's slowing down the hoop. So if I am hooping, the hoop is going, going, going. If I start kind of turning, I can feel the hoop slow down, so I have a little bit more control over it. When I turn, I like to think about pushing the hoop forward, taking a step to turn, pushing the hoop forward, taking a step to turn. So each thrust is basically my invitation to take a step because I am giving the hoop that momentum it needs to keep going. So pushing through the hoop, step, pushing through the hoop, step, pushing through the hoop, step, pushing through the hoop, step. This is really an intuitive thing. As you get more comfortable, you can add your arms into it and really make it a dance. Once it all becomes comfortable for you, it's going to become muscle memory. So now let's take it to the next level. We're gonna go from on body to off. I play too much. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's take a look, shall we? So as I'm waist hooping, I'm going to be paying attention to when the hoop is making contact with my back. And I like to do this by saying it out loud. So back, 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 back. Once I get that all into my mind, I'm going to think about my dominant hand, thinking about that space right before the hoop is about to make contact with my back. Can I get my hand in there? So even if the hoop falls, I'm still practicing getting my hand right into the small of my back where the hoop is going to roll over my hand. I even like to practice being able to hoop with my hand making contact with the hoop. So once I'm used to the hoop making contact with my hand, I'm going to grab the hoop and lift it up and off my body. You want to lift the hoop straight up. You don't want your hand to go any further than the front of your body. What you're basically doing is keeping the hoop's momentum going by having a very light grip on the hoop and lifting it up and off your body. Now let's talk about when the hoop is above your head. If you notice, when I lift the hoop up, it makes contact with my thumb, and then I stick all of my fingers. This trick is called a lasso. It's one of the first tricks I ever learned. The hoop is going to be right between your thumb and index finger, doing this, but above your head. Push into the hoop in all corners of my hand so it has the momentum to keep going. And notice that I keep my thumb under the hoop. If my thumb is not there, the hoop can do whatever it wants, like the big baby that it is. So the hoop is going to the left the same way that I waist hoop, not to the right. If you're left-handed, you're going to do the reverse of that. So let's combine that. We're going from waist hooping to off our body. So I'm waist hooping, taking my right hand, getting into the small of my back, and I'm lifting up, making sure the hoop doesn't go any further than the middle of my body. And now I'm in lasso. Man, my camera died again. As my late grandma would say, the devil don't want y'all knowing this information. My grandma blamed everything on the devil. It's really cute. But we're back. Let's troubleshoot a few things. So when it comes to waist hooping, make sure that you're not looking down, because as you look down, everything is going to be dragged down. Also, gyrating hips, great for the club, not for hula hooping. Another thing you want to watch out for is stiff knees. So if my knees are locked, I'm going to find myself working a lot more in my core. You want your body to be in full alignment. Also, making sure the hoop is straight, not wonky. Also, when getting the hoop off of your body, you want to make sure you don't go too far over to the side because you will get stuck. You want to be quick. You want to have a light grip on the hoop. Straight up. From here, you might be like, okay, great. I loved all of that, Zoe Joy. What next? What next is infinite, babes. You can do whatever you want. The beautiful thing about hula hooping is that everything is connected. It all comes together. Waist hooping becomes shoulder hooping and chest hooping and neck hooping and knee hooping, and it all grows from there. Then as you get more comfortable with your hoop, you're going to learn how to do more complex tricks, but everything in hooping starts with the foundation and you can grow upon it. So we started with this, but as you learn, it can become this. So I guess you're kind of a hula hooper now. So now that you're a big deal, couple tips. Continue practicing. The beautiful thing about hooping is as you continue learning, you're learning more about your own body, the way you move, the way you want to move in your hoop. So the more you practice, the easier it'll become. And now the only thing left to do is to keep hooping. At the beginning of the video, I told you I had an exciting announcement. I'm going to be running a 50% off sale for all of my courses, celebrating my 7-year hoop anniversary. So this is the perfect time to start learning how to hula hoop with me. You can check out said courses at zoejoyblack.com/classes. I have courses with every level in mind, beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced course. Each of my courses also focus on flow and how to create your own flow. And my master program, Hula Hoop 101, features all of my courses combined, along with 101 hula hoop tricks ranging from beginner to advanced. So if you are a beginner hooper, you can go from a beginner level all the way to an advanced level in one place. I also talk about how to string tricks together to create your own flow and more. If you had as much fun as I did, please consider subscribing to this channel. I post everything from hula hooping to roller skating to black girl magic. Thank y'all so much for hooping with me. I had the best time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hula hoops can even bring you love. True story. That is a lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Even after 7 years, I can still break a lamp.